All right, let's get into the Raiders. Derek Carr, man, this is a team I want nothing to do with, like I said, other than Waller. I mean, every now and then we get to a team, I'm like, this has got to be the worst one. This might be, man. I don't know. Derek Carr, 375 for 557, 4,600 yards and change, 28 touchdowns, 11 picks, getting no real competition from backup Mariota, according to your projections. Good enough for your QB 18 based on the projections. I'm actually surprised he's even that high.
Yeah, it's just one of those blah picks that you're never going to want to make. No one's going to certainly be upset that you took Carr from him. Last year, Marcus Mariota put up over 30 points in 3 quarters of action. I really kind of wish they'd go to him at one point or another because he was exciting with his legs and everything.
Stinks, man.
But he's no good either. Yeah, Carr is just like a blah. He's going to do what he's going to do. He has a couple decent weapons around him, but you're never going to be excited. A fair guy to balance out a riskier Trey Lance, Justin Fields while you're waiting. But as we said, we like Fitzpatrick more. We like Kirk Cousins more. And there's going to be another quarterback I talk about in a little bit later on our big board risers and fallers, Zach Wilson, Nat. Yeah, I don't know if you have you been watching this kid? The ball is flying out of his arm to his receivers. So he's another guy I'm going to be bumping above Derek Carr. It just, I guess in a 2-quarterback league, there's a point to own him. But in single quarterback leagues, we've seen the ceiling. The floor is okay, but it's certainly nothing that you're going to want to put in your lineup week to week.
No, that's all I have to say about Derek Carr. All right. Running backs, man.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs, 240 for 984, 10 touchdowns. I mean, that actually sounds like not a bad stat line. Then you got Kenyon Drake, 165, 665 touchdowns. You got him splitting carries out of the backfield, maybe a 60-40 clip in favor of Jacobs. Although you don't love either of these guys' yards per carry, you do like Drake a lot more as a receiver, which I guess is why their value is as close as it is. You got Jacobs as your RB 27 on projection and Drake as your 26.
Yeah, which when that comes out to it, it seems like absolute like chaos. I don't think it's going to be that close, but it is the receiving work, especially in PPR leagues, that's really going to separate him. You know, Jacobs, everything could go wrong for Jacobs has gone wrong this offseason. They dismantle an offensive line that was in the top 10 of last year. I still don't understand that. Yeah. They signed Kenyon Drake, who was 4th in goal line attempts last year, 3rd to only Josh Jacobs. Something has to give there. I can't imagine it's just a clear cut. Jacobs is our guy when they have another pretty good goal line back there. I do that, as you can see, 10 touchdowns for Jacobs at the stripe. Like, he is my preferred option as a rusher. But losing that receiving work, not that he was getting peppered, but 30-ish catches, 50-ish targets, like losing that to Kenyon Drake is going to destroy his value, in my opinion. He saw like the 3rd most touches among running backs, yet only finished just as a fringe RB1 at RB12 last year. Now he's got another guy nibbling at his receiving cheese behind a worst offensive line, and he's still going in rounds like 4. Jacobs is on my do not draft list. Based on these projections, I guess I should have Drake on a lot more teams than I do. I might be a little bit bullish on this receiving upside of him. I think a lot of that I'm going to probably bump that down just a little bit because of some of these receivers we're going to talk about, is specifically Bryan Edwards has become much more impressive recently in camp. So I'll probably be bumping Drake down just a little bit. But either way, I'm certainly avoiding Jacobs at his round 4 price tag. Maybe Drake if he falls like round 10 or 11 and I don't have more than 2-3 running backs, I'll take a stab at. But it is gross. It's gross. I don't want anything to do with this backfield as a whole.
All right, well, let's keep getting gross. Let's talk wide receivers. So you got your Ruggs, Edwards, Renfro, 1, 2, 3 punch.
Deadly.
Henry Ruggs, 56. I hope my numbers are still right on this. 56 grabs, 935 yards, 5 touchdowns. Bryan Edwards, 50 catches, 730, 4 touchdowns. You did mention that you've been impressed by him lately.
Yeah, anyway, you got 6 touchdowns lately. Okay. Yeah, because he's been.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's not an insignificant jump. I mean, that's a lot given what he had. Right. Ruggs, it's good enough for your wide receiver 46. Edwards, you had at 68. I'm assuming he's higher than that now, being that you've bumped up his touchdowns a couple. And then you got Renfro in there, taking up space. This is not a very good wide receiver core on your big board. I think last I saw you had Ruggs 49, Edwards 58.
Yeah, and mostly because this offense runs through Darren Waller, as we know, and we're going to talk about him in a second. Yep. There is the case that either of these guys could be breakouts, and certainly at their price tags, if I'm getting Raiders on my team, it's either Waller in round 2. I don't hate taking stabs at these receivers. One, Ruggs has that speed that's right towards Tyreek Hill level. It just hasn't panned out yet for him. Last year was obviously a disaster after he was the first rookie taken in this really deep loaded class. He fell flat on his face. But I do think there's some upside. He added 13 pounds of muscle to really help him get off the brakes. That's what really killed him. We talked about him with Ted Wynn on that Film Fantasy podcast. Make sure you check that out if you haven't already. That guy's a genius. But Ruggs does, I think, bring a little bit more to the table. As you see, 95 targets for your number one receiver isn't that much. And 84 for Edwards, who's actually been getting the steadier amount of hype. Derek Carr comparing him to Devontae Adams, his ex-college teammate, and how violently he runs his routes, how he goes up and gets it in red zone drills. We saw some of that hype last year that he got hurt and just never fully got himself back. So I don't know how much I'm buying into that either. But at their prices, round 11 or so for Ruggs, around 13, 14 or so for Edwards, one or two of them, if Carr has played well in the past. I mean, you were the one lobbying for like MVP. Just
he
a few
deserved it that year.
He killed it, right? So we've seen a high level of play from him before. Maybe you could sustain a couple breakouts. I wouldn't bet on more than one of them breaking out, and I like Edwards as the cheaper option. But yeah, I found myself drafting a bit of Ruggs and Edwards because there are some intriguing talents and a pretty wide open depth chart outside of Darren Waller, who we'll transition to now.
All right, let's talk Waller. Big numbers here: 104 catches, 1248, 10 touchdowns. Last time I looked, that's on 145 targets, making him by far the biggest target hog on the team. That was good enough for your tight end 2 projection wise and on your big board. And just for an interesting frame of reference, if you're drafting, which I'm sure almost everybody, actually everybody watching this is, whether it's an auction or a snake draft, Waller went for $28 in my auction draft, literally exactly half of what Kelsey went for. I mean, Kelsey's the best. I'm not saying Kelsey's worth $56. But if he is, Waller's certainly worth 28 or more.
Oh, yeah. Waller should go for 40s. Like that was a steal.
He's undervalued, right?
Yeah. And that happens a lot of tight ends in auctions, I've noticed, as they go cheaper than they should, other than the main guy like Kelsey. Yeah, he's flashy and whatnot. And then if the other guys sneak in late, they'll go for way cheaper than they should. Waller, definitely. That's way too cheap for a tight end. I'm projecting for 26% market share for 145 targets. What's to say about this guy? He is such a freak athlete. He can do it after the catch. He can do it in the red zone. He's just a dominant target hog who has a clear, strong rapport with Derek Carr, who is the offensive coordinator, is clearly not afraid to dial up as the main vein in a division that they're going to need points in many, many weeks. So, yeah, I like Darren Waller a ton. He's above Kittle, and I think a lot of people have started to do that. Earlier in the preseason, it was always Kittle number 2. I think a lot of people have woken up to Waller being that much clearer of a target hog. But yeah, I love Waller. It's a round 2 investment, especially if you have like a McCaffrey, a Dalvin Cook. You got your locked in bell cow, and you don't like the receivers. Let's say DK and Jefferson are gone, and like another Terry McLaurin will be there in round 3 for you. I love getting that edge at tight end in round 2.
He and Waller did go for $4 more than Kittle did in our draft.
Those are some cheap values for those tight ends, though. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they were. Looking back, kind of wish I had gone for one of those guys.
Yeah.
Let's see. But I got tight ends really, really cheap at the bottom. Anyway.
Yeah. Higbee for $1, right? Like $2.
I got Higbee for $1, and I told you I got it for $1 by accident, who I'm going to be trying to trade.
Perfect. Good luck.
Yeah, I know, right? Big market for him.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments. Check out some more videos. And join the newest WOLFPACK by subscribing below.